Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is Nicholas from Moralis, and this is episode number 7 of our tutorial series where we are cloning RARIBLE using Moralis. In the previous episode, we wrote our contract for our tokens, and we wrote functions to create items and to also get the correct URI for that token. In this episode, we will start interacting with this contract. And if you've enjoyed the series so far, make sure to hit that like button. So without further ado, let's get going with this episode. The first thing that we want to do now in order for Moralis to talk to our Ganache instance is to link the two. So to do that, you need to go to the Moralis admin panel, press View Details, and go to Ganache Proxy Server. Now, we have a more detailed tutorial on how to do this, so if you're a little bit unfamiliar with what we're doing here, you can check that tutorial out first. But you can follow the steps here. You download this application and you extract the application, and then you copy this information. And here you have some instructions on how to run the program later, but we start with copying this. We go to the folder where we have our program. We open up the configuration file. We replace everything with the things in our clipboard, and then we open up a terminal. In my case, I will open up PowerShell, and then we will run that script that is listed here. So when we do that and press enter, hopefully it will work. And for me, it says Ganache start proxy success. So we have a success. If it doesn't work for you, you can check out that tutorial that I mentioned to see if you did something wrong. And when you've done that, you can get back here and then you can press this refresh button. And now, in fact, it says that we are connected. If you can find this, if you don't see this refresh button, then try to update and restart this your server first and see if this refresh button appears for you. Very good. So now we're connected. So now we can start coding. We can check the documentation here for the Web3, because under Moralis SDK Web3 API, it tells us that when we want to call a contract, we need to do this. We can do this after the enabling of Moralis. So we go to, we can copy this, and then we go back to our code. And just after we enable Moralis, we paste this. We can place this in the window as well. So we can do window.token contract equals, and then it asks for an ABI, and we don't have that yet. So we can create a new file that says abi.js. And inside here, we will place the ABI. So if we go to Moraris token.json in the build contracts folder, then we select all the ABI here, from here down to here. You copy this, and then you go into the ABI, and then you declare a new variable, and we can call it token contract ABI, and then you paste this and end it, and then we can reference it in the HTML document. So script ABI.js. And what did we call it? We called it token contract ABI. So we copy this, we go back to our main.js, and we replace this. And then it wants the contract address, and that we have in this variable here. So we replace it. Good. So now we have access to the contract in the window. Very good. And the next thing that we want to do now is to create our function that will mint the item. So we can do that under the create item function here. We do mint NFT, and we can set that to an async function that will take the metadata URL, and we open up the body, and then we do const receipt receipt equals wait, the token contract that we defined, dot methods dot create item. And that this method is the function that we declared here, create item. And as we see, it wants a URI. So we can go in here and then we just provide this metadata URL. And then we call send, and then we can specify that the from is the ethereum dot selected address. Okay, and after this is done, then we can just console log this to see what we get back. Console.log the receipt, and we can have this function return the ID of the token. And we can find that by doing this. So we return the receipt. We go into the receipt, and then we do the we check the events dot the transfer event, and this is called by the mint function that is called by the safe mint function that we call here. So safe mint, if we can just to show what is happening under the hood, we call safe mint in this contract, safe mint will call mint that will emit this transfer event, and in the transfer event we will have our token ID. So this is what we are grabbing now. So in the transfer event, we want to access the return values dot token ID. So this is how we get the token ID, and then we'd return it. And to comply with the standard of the metadata, we want to change a little bit here. So instead of doing the NFT file path, we can just say image, and then we actually don't need a hash. And this looks much more cleaner. And before here, we can do, before the item creation here, we can do this. Let's do const NFT ID equals await mint NFT, and we already have the metadata file path here, so we can just put this in here. So it will mint with this path. And then after we get this back, we can start defining our item. And down here, we can do item.set NFT ID. And the NFT ID is the NFT ID. And then we can also, since this RARIBLE clone should be working with all kinds of ERC-721 contracts, we also want to specify the contract address. So let's do NFT contract address, and this will be equal to this address, since all tokens that is created on our clone will be using our RARIBLE token. So after this is done, we can try this out. And to do this also, we can go into Ganache and we can just select one of the accounts. Let's do this one. You select the private key, you go into here, and then you open up MetaMask, and then you import an account. You paste the private key here, and let's just rename this to RARIBLE demo 1, for example. So now we have this account, and with this we can go here, make sure that you have the server running on localhost, and then we can refresh this, and I just made a hard refresh, so we'll let everything load. We have the console open here, so we can see the console log event, and then we connect the wallet, and let's just select so that we're using this one that I created here. Connect. Make sure that we're using this one. Okay, good. We sign in. We create our token. So let's do my cool NFT one, some cool the description, and we're not listening to the price at the moment, and we can choose file, and we'll do this one, and then we'll press the create button, and let's see what happens. So it asks us for the minting, so we'll confirm that. We'll get the transaction hash back here, and we get the parse object subclass. So if we do, we check the attributes, and we see, in fact, that this is the NFT ID 1. So we've now successfully minted our first NFT on our RARIBLE clone. Very nice. So this will be enough for this episode. In the next episode, we will start the feature of listing the items owned by the current user. So that will be very exciting, and I hope to see you guys in the next episode. Ciao.